Dark Nature. Nice. What can that be about? Well, let's see. It tells the story of a therapy group that is forced to confront the monsters of their past. When an isolated weekend retreat tests their emotional resilience and ability to survive. Alright. So, Dark Nature is one that I believe crossed my eyes. I don't know, maybe a press release to promote or on Twitter or something. So when I came across it, I'm like, okay, sounds familiar enough. Let me check this out. So it's a fairly new movie, so try to be spoiler free, but there's not much of a twist here. Um, I guess this movie kind of sums up is what do you believe is really happening or not happening in this movie, and versus the women's state of mind here. So basically we have a woman here who's been apparently abused by her boyfriend, and obviously that's taken a toll on her and so forth, or to the point where she's supposedly broken up with him, but we find out maybe not so much. But her friend come along and wants to help her out, so her friend takes her with the therapy group out into the wilderness, and it is with a other women who apparently also have been seeing this doctor, and each kind of having their own kind of issues. And the point is to get away, and so that they can be out in the freedom together, and I guess share their experience and talk and all that good stuff. And as they're out there, she's kind of insistent that they shouldn't be out there. One, because I guess she's just not comfortable out there in the woods, and two, that she thinks her boyfriend is out there watching them. She kind of becomes convinced that he's out there. She kind of sees bushes move and this move, and always watching her back, and kind of paranoid about it. And so we kind of go through that, and then like I said, she's also not sure that they should be out there in the woods. Period. She's just not happy with it overall. But her friend had good intentions of trying to get her some help and trying to get her away from the situation. So, as this kind of goes on the entire movie, we're going to see flashbacks of her and learn a little bit about this relationship, kind of where the abuse started, where, kind of picked up when the movie started, and then, where it is, as this, in the beginning it kind of shows apart, but then yeah, before they go on this trip, some time has passed. So we get to see a little bit in that time before this trip takes place as well. So you're gonna get kind of interrupted by these flashbacks, and then as this kind of goes on, you just kind of have to deal with it. You're just gonna have to roll with them setting up this character that has all kinds of problems, or is it in her head, or that kind of thing. And I always had that clock on in my head. Like, when does the horror in this movie start? And yes, there is an opening scene. Like I said, you're gonna see him abuse. Start the abuse. So yeah, that's horror in its own self. But this that the horror that we really want to talk about and see, the blood and guts kind of meter running here, and you don't get any of that early on and into the mid portion of this movie. So you're gonna have to sit through a bit. You're gonna have to sit through a bit before any of the good stuff happens, and there will be some good stuff. Another girl kind of has feelings too, and you're kind of stuck to seeing is she kind of dreaming too? Is she seeing these things, or something really happening? So is it them being paranoid? Is there something in the bushes? Is there something out there in the woods? Is there something out there controlling their minds out there in the woods? Um, there's something out there, and it is a monster creature, whatever you want to call it, out there in this woods that's going to terrorize these women. It's not Cocaine Bear. They've already done that. Not Cocaine Cougar, coming soon, and whatever else is out there. This is some monster creature, and that's it. And I will say, I thought they did a pretty good job with this monster. Pretty cool looking. You will get to see it. It's not one of these things that's kind of hidden there. You get to see a little piece of it, and then that's it. You will get to see it. I'm assuming they did all that practical effects and all that good stuff that we like. So when it gets to the horror, I think you guys enjoy it. You're just gonna have to sit through a little bit to get there. Um, it's going to attack. It's going to kill some of the women, so you're going to have some of that fun there. And I guess the one thing I guess I can kind of say about this movie is it is a poor woman's descent. Uh, I think most horror fans would agree. The Descent is up there um, with horror movies, and this one is a poor woman's descent. I'm not trying to take a shot at this movie, um, but that's just kind of one of the thoughts that came to mind after I watched this. And again, no offense to this movie. Obviously, the bar is way high with The Descent, but I kind of say that because it's they're on the outside a lot. The Descent starts off, and then they go in the tunnels, and then that's it until the end. And then there's a whole adventure under the tunnels besides for the creatures, and so this one is almost in reverse. This one is a bunch of women out there in the forest, uh, but they're primarily outside. They're out there in the wilderness. The end of the movie kind of does end up in kind of a cave, but it's not the same cave-like activity that we see in The Descent. They don't have equipment. They're not going way under the earth and having to swing around and use ropes and all this. This is simply climb through the cave. So it's not to that craziness. So you have that, and then you do have a monster here, and but in The Descent you had lots of monsters, lots and lots of them. So that's kind of why I say a poor woman's descent. And it's almost like the opposite. It's the inside, the outside. Instead of having lots of monsters, one monster. Um, so that's kind of the way I kind of viewed it. The horror is not bad, and I guess the one thing I guess they want you thinking about is by the end of the movie. And I don't think this, like I said, there's no major twist in this movie and so forth. It is, women in the forest, creature, and that's about it. Um, I guess the only thing is that they kind of want you thinking that this monster creature, did it really happen or not? And, is it more, in the girl's head and more of a representation of the abuse that she went? And, it's kind of one of those things that kind of make you think when the movie over. Was it all in her head? Was this just a way of getting over it? Did all this really happen? Or did she just kind of use all this rage and thoughts of what just happened to her to get out of this situation? So I guess it's that kind of thing, and I guess that's what they were going for when they kind of pieced this together. So it will give you a little bit to think about, and again, not gonna uh, overpass that there is the theme of abuse in this movie, and I guess that's another point that the filmmakers are making and kind of using that as a driving force. So of course that's a serious matter and important, and just does play a role throughout. Again, it is, the monster is abusive. It's killing the other women. It's trying to kill her. So it's almost, in that, again, she just can't escape it. She's tried to escape it with her boyfriend, and now she has to try to escape it with this monster who's also basically abusing her. So, I guess that kind of wraps the story together and so forth. So, with that, I'm gonna give it 2.5 pools of blood, somewhere in the middle. Just because, like I said, it's just it's not a drag, but you're gonna have to sit through a bit before you kind of really get into it. Kind of when she first kind of thinks something's having it, looking in the bushes and whatever. I don't really turn on my horror meter there yet. That's not there quite yet. Have to wait a little bit further. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit. But once like I said, you get towards the end, I think it will pick up enough. The action starts to kick in. The fight against the monster kicks in. Anything terribly new? No, but just it is. It is what it is at this point. Once you've seen a lot of these monster movies, it is what it is. It is basically, how is it that they're going to kill this thing? What is its weakness, and how are they going to kill it? So yeah. So first half, second half, better. Good ending. And like I said, it's going to give you a little bit food for thought there. If how much of the story, do you think that this really happened? Do you think it was kind of in her head, or is it just a coincidence that, you know, her real life situation and this situation are kind of similar? But it is what it is. So that is 2.5 pools of blood out of 5. And horrorlsgorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find more of my reviews, written and video. And but if you're just interested in the video reviews, obviously you can subscribe here, like, notifications, all those things that everybody wants you to do. If not, no problem, no worries, no pressure. Definitely encourage you to check out the shorts. Kind of trying to do some different things and have some fun in a different way. Also, a little bit informative. If you don't swing over to promote horror, lots of it comes from there. But if you're not up to date there, it might keep you up to date here. So, with some of the news and so forth in a fun way. Twitter, Facebook, information down below. Join me there. Talk horror there. If not, no problem, no worries. And obviously down in the comments section, if you saw this movie, you can boost how much better The Descent is than this one. But again, no offense to this one. It's just the bar is high. So with that, I guess I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.